All right, two stories I'd like to cover in this video. One is about Mahmoud Khalil. It is an update on him. If you don't know who Mahmoud Khalil is, he was a permanent green card holder and he is married and to a U.S. citizen, and his wife that he is married to was 8 months pregnant at the time of his arrest, and she gave birth obviously like a month later, and they didn't even let him get a temporary escorted release to be there for it. In fact, they even tried to prevent him from holding his son for the first time a few months later. They wanted to let him only see him through like plexiglass. Insane stuff when you consider he has not been charged or even alleged of committing any crimes whatsoever. This is strictly based on his speech and activism regarding Israel's genocide in Gaza, because we all know that if you stand up for Palestinians, you get deemed pro-Hamas or pro-terrorist. So they're trying to deport him for, I think they were saying, being like adverse to U.S. foreign policy or could have U.S. foreign policy consequences. So if you are against genocide and aiding and abetting a genocide, then you're against U.S. foreign policy, which makes sense considering not too long ago we supported Saudi Arabia and their genocide in Yemen. So it's just kind of par for the course as far as U.S. foreign policy goes. And for Mahmoud Khalil, obviously we discussed no crimes, no alleged crimes, and a lot of it was he's anti-Semitic. Well, you can't find a single anti-Semitic speech, post, video, interview, or anything. But you know what you can find? You can find videos, speeches, interviews of him denouncing anti-Semitism, condemning it, and speaking out against it. So that is all important context to keep in mind. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Politico, Trump administration's bid to deport Mahmoud Khalil is likely unconstitutional, judge rules. Likely. These judges need to stop playing softball, man. Jesus Christ. A federal judge ruled Wednesday that the Trump administration's effort to deport pro-Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil is likely unconstitutional, but the judge stopped short of freeing him from jail. Like, this is crazy, especially because we've had Mosa Madawi and Rumeysa Ozturk all released, which is very good. It's weird why they're so obsessed with holding Khalil. Instead, Khalil must present further legal arguments for why he should be released, U.S. District Judge Michael Faberez wrote in a 106-page decision. Khalil, a legal U.S. resident and recent Columbia University graduate student, has not been charged with any crime, but he has been detained in Louisiana since March after authorities arrested him in the lobby of his university residence and put him into deportation proceedings. Khalil was the first group of foreign-born pro-Palestinian academics who were swept up by the Trump administration, even though they had green cards or valid student visas. Judges have ordered several of the other academics released from jail, but Khalil has remained locked up while fighting his deportation on two parallel tracks. Faberez courtroom in New Jersey and a separate immigration court proceedings in Louisiana. During Khalil's time in jail, his wife gave birth to their first child, as we talked about. In seeking to remove Khalil from the country, the Trump administration invoked a rarely used provision of federal law that allows the deportation of any non-citizen if the Secretary of State determines the person's presence or activities in the U.S. would have serious adverse foreign policy consequences. Again, you speak out against genocide, you're against genocide, well, you're a terrorist, and you're against their foreign policy goals. Insane. Absolutely insane. Faberez, a Biden appointee, ruled Wednesday that Secretary of State Marco Rubio likely acted unconstitutionally when he used that provision to target Khalil. They want to send this dude back to Syria, by the way, and I don't know if you know much about Syria, but it's not a great place to be right now. It's who's the like ruler president that just took over, like some like former, was it Al Qaeda, ISIS, some former jihadist. So. And even if he wasn't, the country has been in a civil war for decades now. It's not a good place to go to. And it's insane that we are even entertaining this notion of sending him back there. Rubio, the judge, wrote, never explained whether Khalil's activities affected U.S. relations with any other country, and as a result, his use of the provision was likely unconstitutionally vague. An ordinary person would have had no real inkling that a Section 1227 removal could go forward in this way, the judge continued, referring to the section of federal law that contains the deportation provision. But that does not mean Khalil should automatically be released. Faberez wrote, the judge said he wants additional briefing on other issues, including the government's claim that Khalil omitted relevant information, including his membership in several organizations, when he applied for his green card. Khalil and his lawyers have argued that the administration is illegally retaliating against him for his role in organizing campus protests of the Israel-Hamas war. So yeah, once they initially locked him up and they couldn't find any real valid reason aside from speech that they locked him up, they turned around and started going to technicalities. It's like, oh, you messed up this part of your green card application, or you lied about this part, even though it was all proven he got in. And the groups they're talking about is UNRWA, which is it's a UN-backed aid group for Palestinians. And of course, there's a lot to get into there, but I encourage you to do your own research. Basically, the U.S. and Israel thinks it's a terrorist group that is in bed with Hamas, but all independent research and everything is absolutely the opposite. The district court held what we already knew. Secretary Rubio's weaponization of immigration law to punish Mahmoud and others like him is likely unconstitutional. Khalil's lawyers said Wednesday in response to Fabrera's ruling, "We will work quickly as possible to provide the court additional information it requested supporting our effort to free Mahmoud or otherwise return him to his wife and newborn son." While Khalil's case has been pending before Fabrera's, an immigration judge in Louisiana ruled that Khalil can be deported as a national security risk. Jesus Christ. Immigration judges are employees of the Justice Department and ordinarily do not grapple with constitutional questions as extensively as U.S. district judges. Yeah, so immigration judges are part of the Justice Department, which is under not the judicial branch; it's under the executive branch. They always move these people to Louisiana. They move so many people to Louisiana, citing like, oh, the beds were full where they got arrested, even though that's been proven wrong. They send them to Louisiana so they can get these judges that will rule in their favor. Khalil is expected to appeal the immigration judge's ruling. He cannot be deported immediately because Fabrera has previously barred the government from removing him from the country while his legal challenge is pending. So that's all we have on Mahmoud. Next one I'd like to talk about is the Harvard researcher. I believe she is from Russia, and she was detained and locked up because she not accidentally, but she brought embryos. I'm sure this article will touch on it, and didn't report it, so they arrested her and shipped her off to, wherever. Judge orders release of Harvard scientist from ICE detention, so that is good. A judge has ordered Harvard University researcher Kseniia, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Petrova, to be released from custody after she was detained for allegedly smuggling frog embryos into the country. We are gratified that today's hearing gave us the opportunity to present clear and convincing evidence that Kseniia Petrova was not carrying anything dangerous or unlawful, and that customs officers at Logan International Airport had no legal authority to revoke her visa or detain her, said Gregory Romanvsky, Petrova's attorney. At today's hearing, we demonstrated that Kseniia is neither a danger to the community nor a flight risk and does not belong in immigration detention, he added. The Russian-born scientist has so far been held in immigration and customs enforcement detention in, you guessed it, Louisiana for 3 months, and her J-1 non-immigrant visa was revoked. U.S. District Judge Christina Rice found Petrova is not a flight risk nor a danger to the community and set a criminal bail hearing for next week. Rice raised concerns over the legality of the revocation of Petrova's visa and whether she was held for too long without court review, NBC News reported. Petrova still faces federal smuggling charges and will not be released from the custody of U.S. Marshals unless a judge also rules in that case for her bail. Petrova's team at Harvard does cancer research, and her attorney has argued that she did not need a permit for the materials she brought into the country. The Hill also reached out to the Department of Homeland Security for comment. The decision is the latest in a series of wins for foreign students and faculty who have been detained by the Trump administration. It also comes at a time where the Trump administration is looking to hamper Harvard, as we talked about, by cutting its funding, taking away the university's ability to admit foreign students, and threatening to cap foreign student enrollment at 15%, when Harvard's student body is currently 27% international students. So yeah, a win's a win. That is good, that she's getting at least is to be released on bail. And It doesn't mean that her flight's over. It just means she can at least be free from custody, which is, about as good as you can get, unfortunately, in this time. But, yeah, this is just all crazy. Like, I've already given my thoughts so many times on this. It's just crazy. We'll leave it at that. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next one. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below, and if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.